Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new. Today I'm really excited because I'm going to be showing you guys how to make our best-selling mini octo, and this guy whips up so quick and easy. It's no sew and super duper market prep friendly. This is another week of our 10 weeks of market tutorials series. So we've already made so many cute things, and make sure to check them out if you're interested because these patterns are all like best sellers and they're super quick and easy to make for market. And if you guys didn't know, the mini octo and the stress ball that I posted 2 weeks ago have actually been on our channel before as tutorials, and they were Fiona's tutorials, but since she did remove her tutorials for them, I wanted to make my version for you guys because I do mention them so much, and I really want to give you guys the option to make these guys along with the stress balls if you want to do them for markets or anything, because they're just the absolute best for that. So I really hope you guys enjoy, and let's get into the materials you're going to need to make this guy. The first thing you're going to need is yarn. So I have this yarn. I'm going to be using a light blue. This is Bernat baby blanket, but you can also use regular Bernat blanket, or you can use chenille yarn, but anything that is weight 6 super bulky will work. If you choose to use a different yarn, it may come out smaller or larger depending on what type you use, and also make sure to adjust your hook size accordingly if you do change the type of yarn. And then the other things you will need to make this are a 8mm hook. You can also use a 6, but it will come out a lot smaller. And then I have a stitch marker for keeping track of our round, a tapestry needle for just like stitching it up at the end, and a pair of scissors. And then I also have two 12mm safety eyes and the backs for those, and I'm not going to put it on the screen, but I'm also going to use some fiber fill from Polyfill for stuffing. So now that we have all of our materials, let's get into how to make the mini octo. Couple of disclaimers before we start. This is my old desk, and my setup at my apartment was much better, but we don't have it anymore. So this is my house setup, and it's clean, it's sustained. And then the other one is this tutorial for the mini octo is going to be more step-by-step and beginner friendly, so I might walk you guys through it a little bit more. Let me know if you would like a more sped up quick tutorial, just if you want the pattern for those of you who may not be beginners. We did used to have both of those options for both the stress ball and mini octo, so I would like to offer that again. But if you guys are all beginners and you just want the step-by-step version, that's completely fine too. But with that being said, even though it is beginner friendly and step-by-step, if you've never ever crocheted anything before, it still might be a little bit tricky. So you might want to go and watch a few how to crochet tutorials, or like how to make a magic ring, how to do a single crochet, that kind of thing, so that you can make this guide. But with all that being said, I am going to start with a magic ring, but you can also do a chain too and work into the first chain if that would be easier for you guys. But I'm going to be doing a magic ring, and the way I like to show you guys is just kind of doing the slow version of a magic ring. I kind of do magic rings weird anyway, so I'm just going to do it nice and slow, but I'm not going to talk because it's kind of difficult to explain. So I'm just going to do it nice and slow. And I just kind of tighten it a little bit. And now for round 1, we are going to be putting single crochets into the magic ring. So start out by inserting your hook into the ring, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through both the loops on your hook. Now we have our first single crochet, and we will be repeating that 5 more times for a total of 6 single crochets in round 1. Okay, now that I have my 6 single crochets, I'm going to tighten up the magic ring, but I'm not going to secure it with knots yet, just in case I have to like expand it again. Now that we're finished round 1, I'm going to start out round 2 by inserting my hook into that very first stitch we made in round 1. And I'm going to make a single crochet. Then I'm going to grab my stitch marker and just mark that first stitch of the round. And then before I work into the next stitch, I'm actually going to be making 2 single crochets into the very same stitch because I'm going to be doing increases for this round. So we have 1 single crochet in the first stitch, but we are going to work into that very same stitch and put 1 more single crochet. And we will be repeating that all the way around. So put 2 single crochets in every stitch all the way around for a total of 6 increases or 12 stitches in round 2. Okay, now I have my 12 stitches in round 2, so I'm just going to flip it over and I'm going to secure the magic ring with a few knots. I just like to do this with all my stuff just to make it extra secure. And now I'm going to be starting out round 3. So for round 3, I'm going to start by putting just 1 single crochet into the very first stitch. And then in the next stitch, I'm going to be doing an increase. So 2 single crochets into the very same stitch. And then that is what we will be repeating. So in the next stitch, just 1 single crochet. But then the following stitch, 2 single crochets into the same stitch. So we will be doing 1 single crochet followed by an increase in every single stitch all the way around 6 times, and that will leave us with a total of 18 stitches in round 3. Okay, and I've now finished round 3, so I'm going to start round 4 by putting just 1 single crochet into the first stitch. And that is what we will be repeating all the way around. So just 1 single crochet in every stitch all the way around, a total of 18 times. So for round 4, we should end with 18 stitches in the round. Okay, I've now just finished my 18 single crochets in round 4, so now I'm going to be doing round 5. So for round 5, I'm just going to start by putting 1 single crochet into the first stitch, and then in the next 2 stitches, I'm going to be putting a decrease. So I'm going to be doing invisible decreases for this pattern. So to do that, you work into the front loop only of the stitch. So when we turn the stitches to the side, you can kind of see that they make like V shapes. So when we're doing front loop only, we work into the loop closest to us, but not the loop furthest from us. So to make a visible decrease, you start by inserting your hook into the front loop only of the first stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, and then put your hook into the front loop only of the next stitch, yarn over, pull up another loop, and then finish it by yarning over and pulling through all 3 loops on your hook. And that is what we will be repeating for round 5. So in the next stitch, put 1 single crochet, and then in the next 2 stitches, do a invisible decrease. We will be repeating 1 single crochet followed by a decrease 6 times for a total of 12 stitches at the end of round 5. Okay, I've now finished all of my single crochets and decreases. So now we will be starting round 6, and round 6 is going to be a little bit different. It's not anything too complicated, but it's a little different. So the first thing I want to say for round 6 is we will be working into the front loop only for every stitch. So like we were doing with the invisible decreases, if we have a V for a crochet stitch, we're only working into the front part of the V. So just right there. And round 6 will be making the little frill or like the octopus legs or tentacles. So we are going to start by doing a slip stitch in the front loop only of the first stitch. So insert your hook into the front loop only, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then instead of yarning over and pulling through for a single crochet, you don't yarn over, you just pull through that 1 loop. that's a slip stitch. I'm also not going to be adding my stitch marker, but if you guys want to, we will eventually be working into the back loops only of this round, so you can go ahead and mark the back loop. It will likely make it easier for you in the future, so you can go ahead and do that. I actually am going to do that just to show you guys. So the next thing, now that we have our slip stitch, is going to be a chain 2. So to do that, we yarn over and pull up a loop, and then do that one more time for 2. And then now that we have our chain 2, we are going to be working into the first chain that we made with another slip stitch. So just insert your hook into that chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then just pull through that one loop on the hook. And then to kind of finish this one off slash start the next one, we are going to work into the next stitch, the front loop only, and do a slip stitch. And then we will just be repeating that all the way around. So next we'll be doing a chain 2, working a slip stitch into the first chain, and then working into that next front loop only. I'm gonna just do a few more with you slowly, and then I'll speed it up and meet you guys back when you are all done with round 6. And then once I get to the very end, I'm just going to end by making a slip stitch in the front loop only of the slip stitch that we started the round with, just to make it nice and seamless. And then now we are done with round 6. Before we move ahead to round 7, the last round of the mini octo, I'm going to insert my eyes, and I'm going to be putting the eyes between rounds 3 and 4. So just count down from the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, so right here. And it's personal preference how far apart you put them. So I just kind of put the first one in and see how I like it. I kind of like to put mine a little bit further apart, but I know Fiona likes to put them like pretty close together. So it's just personal preference again. Mine here are about 4 stitches apart. So once you're happy with them, you can just add on the backs. And then once we've attached our eyes, I am going to do the final round of the mini octo. So for the final round, we are going to be working decreases into the back loops only from round 5. So technically they are from round 5, even though we kind of made them in round 6, if that makes sense. It's just the ones you didn't work into when you're making the frill. So I did mark mine, so I will start by working into that very first one and just removing the stitch marker. And I'm going to be doing decreases, so I'm just going to pull up a loop in that first stitch and then go into the next back loop only and pull up another loop, and then pull through all 3 for my decrease. And I'm going to just mark that stitch. And you will be doing a total of 6 decreases, which will leave us with 6 stitches in round 7. Okay, and I've now finished my 6 decreases. Now that I have that, I'm just going to be tying off, but you do want to leave a little bit of a tail just for kind of sewing up this last little hole we have left. So I just chain, and then I pull through a bit of yarn, and then I'm just going to cut that off. And before I sew it up, I'm going to add a little bit of stuffing into my octo. And now that it's all stuffed, I'm going to grab my tapestry needle and I'm going to insert my yarn onto the needle, and then I'm going to weave the needle through the front loops of the decreases that we made in round 7. So just starting out in the first front loop, and I'm just going to weave it through all of those stitches so that we can just cinch up the bottom. And then I just pull it tight once I've gone through every single one. And then once we've gone through every single one and cinched it up, I'm just going to go into a nearby stitch and I'm going to make a couple of knots just because I like to really secure my project. And then once I have those knots, I'm gonna go right into that nearby stitch, and I'm going to weave the yarn right through the project and pull it out the top and pull it nice and tight. And then I'm just gonna tuck a little bit of it in just to like hide it. But if you have extra like I do, you can just cut that off. And I just tuck in the rest of that end. And this is the finished mini octo. So that is our mini octo pattern. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching the tutorial. Let me know if you tried making this and if you enjoyed it and what color you guys made, because I always like to hear what colors you guys make of everything. Make sure to like the video if you liked it and subscribe to see more tutorials like this one. I have so many tutorials here on the channel, and specifically recently I've been doing market prep friendly ones, so you can check out the 10 weeks of market tutorials playlist for all 10 weeks of the market tutorials. I think this is like week 7, so they might not all be up yet by the time you're watching this, but I am going to be doing 10 weeks, so stay tuned for that and make sure to check out any of the other ones if you're interested. And thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you next time. Bye!